Blake Lively is doing everything in her power to, as she puts it, keep documents falling into the wrong hands.
And another problem cited by the court is that while Lively argues the subpoenas will show who was a part of the alleged smear campaign against her, the problem is the alleged negative campaign didn't start until August of 2024. So why would Blake Lively need communications in 2022 and 2023?
It's no secret that Hollywood's power couple, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, likely have some skeletons in their closet. However, it seems their secrets run deeper than many anticipated. Right now, they're locked in a legal battle with Justin Baldoni, who has made it his mission to expose them, while they're doing everything they can to prove him wrong. The drama has escalated, with Baldoni's lawsuit against Lively stretching over 221 pages, packed with a multitude of receipts. Of course, Lively isn't backing down and has filed her own lawsuit. But even though she's facing accusations of sexual harassment, Justin's team has countered with some pretty strong responses. The latest twist in this ongoing saga involves the question of whether or not to release private text messages to the public. Let's break down what's been going on.
Blake Lively is doing everything in her power to, as she puts it, keep documents falling into the wrong hands. She says there are 100 million reasons why Baldoni's side might try to leak text messages and other information. That's how much PR value that they have, she told a court yesterday at a hearing.
While many agree that the latest hearings seem to focus on the lawsuit between Team Blake and Team Justin, the real spotlight was on the other high-profile figures tangled up in the It Ends With Us drama. The biggest focus, none other than America's sweetheart.
Underneath that surface story, in a lot of ways, this hearing was really about Taylor Swift and some of Blake Lively's co-stars, like Jenny Slate or Isabella Ferrer. They are the ones who would be protected. That's not obvious on the surface. This is one of those legal issues where there's just a lot bubbling underneath the surface of what you see. And unless you know kind of the inside scoop of how the legal process works, you're going to miss that. You won't understand.
The heart of the latest dispute is a protective order. Typically, a standard protective order is a routine measure in lawsuits or civil cases involving sensitive information. However, Blake is pushing for something more stringent, an attorney's eyes only order, which would limit access to the information even further.
Attorney's eyes only means only the attorneys get to see this, not even the parties. That would mean that if Blake Lively produced text messages she had with anyone, then and they were marked as attorney's eyes only, well, that means Justin Baldoni can't see them. That means also the other defendants, because I think there are 10 who are named as defendants by Blake Lively, and Justin Baldoni's PR agents are also included as defendants, so some of them also, or all of them who are defendants, would not be able to see these documents. So it's not just about public access, and in fact, it's really not about public access. The judge's protective order already covered anything of a personal and intimate nature regarding any individual.
Contrary to her claims, it's clear that this move is more about shielding what's left of her reputation and maintaining control over how the public perceives the situation. The attorney's eyes only order would give her more power to manage the narrative and prevent further damage.
The judge's protective order already covered anything of a personal and intimate nature regarding any individual. So that was already there. And remember when I mentioned about that protective order creep, I'll call it, where more and more stuff gets shoved under there. That's going to be used to keep a lot of things under seal that really shouldn't be and that aren't personal and intimate, at least in many cases. That's how it would end up working.
The judge denied Team Blake's request to reveal all of Justin's text messages, calls and emails spanning over 2 years. Justin's team didn't hold back, criticizing how entitled Blake's team appeared, demanding access to such private information without just cause.
Wrote in their letter to the judge, it's hard to overstate how broad, invasive, and atypical these subpoenas truly are. This is civil litigation, not a criminal prosecution, and the Lively parties are not the FBI. Yet the subpoenas seek not only the complete call and text history of each of the targets over a period of several years, no matter the sender, recipient, or subject matter, but also over the same period, real-time location information and data logs reflecting, among other things, web browsing history.
After a meeting between the parties, Blake Lively agreed to reduce the scope of the subpoenas. However, Justin's team still argued that the requests were overly broad and excessive.
Will improperly reveal the phone numbers of anyone with whom they communicated, whether it was related to this case or not. So they countered that the subpoenas should only be limited to communications between the phone numbers and the phone numbers of parties in the case and witnesses that Lively intends to call at trial. And it seems the judge has agreed with Justin Baldoni and Wayfarer & Co., writing in his order, quote, "Subpoenas of the Wayfarer party's phone records, even as modified after the meet and confer, are overly intrusive and disproportionate to the needs of the case. The subpoenas request call and text logs between certain of the Wayfarer parties and any other phone number, in most cases from December 1st, 2022 to the present. This request implicates legitimate privacy interests."
They also pointed out that Blake had yet to provide any indication of how the obtained information would be filtered, raising concerns about the potential for unnecessary leaks or misuse.
Though Lively has narrowed her request to exclude the content of calls or messages, phone records themselves would still contain sensitive information regarding which doctors, psychologists, or even acquaintances the Wayfarer party spoke to and when. And the judge found that Lively hasn't shown how she would actually separate those numbers that may be relevant to the case from those that wouldn't. And the judge doubled down that even if someone doesn't have a privacy interest, let's say under the Fourth Amendment, protection against unreasonable searches and seizures, parties still have a privacy interest in their phone records under state and federal law. And Baldoni, Wayfarer, they have a privacy interest in their communications with non-parties.
Final nail in the coffin was their claim that the smear campaign didn't begin until much later. So, Justin's team questioned why Blake would want logs dating back so far if the issue hadn't even started at that point.
And another problem cited by the court is that while Lively argues the subpoenas will show who was a part of the alleged smear campaign against her, the problem is the alleged negative campaign didn't start until August of 2024. So why would Blake Lively need communications in 2022 and 2023? And then the judge writes, quote, "Lively has not provided a basis to believe that the broad discovery she seeks will reveal information regarding unknown participants in the negative media campaign proportionate to the burden on the Wayfarer party's privacy interests."
Turning back to Blake's latest demands, her lawyer didn't hold back, making some harsh remarks about Team Justin in response to their actions.
That this case involves what could basically be considered trade secrets. There are marketing plans, there are business strategies, there are client lists from public relations agencies, which could give competitors in the PR industry an unfair advantage if that information is disclosed. And she even expressed concerns about the potential leak of, quote, "specific security measures Ms. Lively and Mr. Reynolds have taken to protect themselves and their families from this retaliatory campaign," because we know that this story has certainly circulated.
Blake's lawyer also argued that their text messages could expose trade secrets within the industry. One point that seemed reasonable was when she highlighted that Team Justin had subpoenaed the couple's security agency, which according to her was completely unnecessary